let's talk about my signature color toy system. This is what made my life a lot simpler to understand what type of toys my playroom should have and how to sort them out and how understand which toys I had too many of, which ones I needed the most, and then how to rotate those. I think in color, I live in color. So I actually decided to create a color system. You do not have to use the same colors that I do. You can create your own colors. What I did is I bought some dot stickers and I assigned each of the colors to these different areas. So we have building toys, and we're going to go through each of these areas in a minute so that you know exactly what's what. So there's 8 different toy groups. We have building toys, cognitive toys, so those are the puzzles, make you think. Fine motor toys, that's the little hand movements of your hands. Imaginative toys, so those are anything that's play roles like veterinarian, doctors. Music toys, art supplies, books, and gross motor toys. The gross are those big movement toys. What I did is I assigned a color or any of these areas into my shelf. So I know I put a dot sticker on this one, which is purple, and this is going to be my cognitive shelf. So this, I'm going to be always rotating cognitive toys in this little box. These are fine motor toys. These are music toys. And the other one was something else. A building toys, I think is what I have. So just assign the space that you have, assign a category to each of those boxes. If you have one big open shelf, maybe on the top, then you say, okay, half of this shelf is going to be building toys, and then this other half is going to be music. So just assign a designated area on the play space that you have. For me, for example, the gross motor toys will not have an area here because those are, big movements. So I might have 1 or 2 toys in there, but mostly stuff that we're going to be used outside. So now that you have the different areas and the space that you have to work with, you can assign your categories and see how you want to organize it. So that is the beauty of this system, is that you'll get the structure, you'll get the bones, but then you can implement it into the space that you have. So if you have a big space or if you have a small space, if you have a shared space, you can assign it however it works for you and your family and what your child is into. My son is currently into trucks and vehicles. So I actually created a separate category for just vehicles. He has his own area where it's all about cars and the car wash and the roads and all of that. So you just think in categories, and it's going to make it a lot easier. So what are the cognitive toys? So these toys are targeting that cognitive development, which encourages that problem-solving skills. So these are things like puzzles and board games and brain teasers and shape sorters. So these are a few of the samples that, you probably already have. And when it comes to puzzles, there's so many different ideas that you can get. When you start sorting your toys in categories, you start to see that inventory that I was talking to you about. Like, what is it that you have? How many you really have of each category? And does it suit what your child's interest is at the time? I noticed that most of my toys are cognitive toys. I have like a lot of them. And when it comes to music, I think I have a drum and, a few things. So that's when like my little handy dandy stickers come into play, is because I just tag them, be like cognitive, purple, 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 and put them on the purple box. And so that at the end I can see exactly what I have and then really what I need, what I should get more of, because you want to have a balanced play time, right? You want to have a play area that supports all of the areas of development. We don't only want to have kids that are really good at problem solving skills. We also want kids that can jump and run and play. So building blocks, and I think this is one of my favorite categories, because when I go into the playroom, I tend to gravitate towards the building toys and I can play with them. So this is part of my collection. Like I've been adding on to a rainbow stacker. Was like the rainbow stacker and the blocks was the first thing like I really got. So anything that you can use to build and to create those fine motor skills and that stacking developments, when they're 1 year old, they can stack 2 or 3 blocks. And as they grow, they can stack more and more, and they can get more creative. Anything that are like Lego mega blocks, these are the magnet tiles, which I absolutely recommend because you can get different sets, and then you grow your collection. The Lincoln blocks, which is like on my wish list, and any like Bristol blocks as well. Anything that is used to build, it goes into this category. So for me, would be the blue category. Then you have the books category. So like I told you, like I have a basket where I display a few of the books that we're going to read in our play area during the daytime. And the way I organize that is called the rainbow system. You just divide the books by color. When they are accessing these books, they can help you clean up because it is an easy system for them to follow. They can put back the same color. And then another system which I absolutely love, and this is most preschools have it, is a face of the book out. And that's something that experts do recommend, is for you to display the books facing out because it calls their attention. Kids can really see it, and it's easy for them to grab what calls their attention. But other storage ideas that you can do is you can organize your books by season. For me, I really like the rainbow system. After I declutter my books and I got rid of like the one he overgrown, and then the other ones that just were too advanced. So the too advanced, I put them on a box. And these are actually any of these books we can pick and we can read. So this is what we pick and read at nighttime or when we're hanging out in his room. Let's talk about imaginative. So this is all the toys that are just targeted at social and emotional development and those language skills that your child acts out stories and made up. So anything like the kitchen set that, I think is one of the first things we all attempt to go get. The car sets, if you have a few, like for me, I had to put that separate area on its own because we had just so many. Guess it's having a boy, that's what you get. Anything like fire stations and police stuff, stuffed animals, dressed up clothes. Kids about 2 years old, 2.5, start to develop this imaginative plays. When even before that, maybe you just have the kitchen as they start mimicking their daily life. That's how they imagine play, is they'll just start mimicking what they have at home. So how they eat and taking a shower, and maybe just have a baby and they'll take the shower to the baby and they'll dress the baby. So that's how they start. And then as they grow and develop that imaginative brain, I guess a little bit more, they'll start getting more creative and role playing and understanding all these community helpers that we have around, like the fireman and the construction worker and the garbage, truck. Like they'll be obsessed with it if you have a boy. So all of those are imaginative plays. Like I said, I have those vehicles out because I have so many. And what I grouped them together was anything that was like construction, those vehicles, like anything that was like city buildings and trains and train tracks. And I created these roads made out of wood to create little cities. So those for me go into one area. And they didn't have the bright green stickers. So what I ended up doing, it was just using the black one. Like I said, the color doesn't matter. What matters is that you assign a color and you know what color you have assigned to, just because it makes it easy. If you're thinking color like me, it's going to make it easy for you to just understand and group things together. Then you have the magic art supplies, and these can go from big easels to small little markers and crayons, but anything that's that creative environment. So those craft papers and crayons, coloring books, those painting with water books, which I absolutely love because you only put water and then as they paint, the colors show up. So it's no mess. Anything that's like finger paints and washable paints, glitter, Play-Doh, clay, craft supplies. So, you want to keep those in one area. You also want to rotate those. Just keep in mind, because a lot of people think that because there are supplies, they always have to be on display, and that's not the case. You add them as part of your rotation. And then the fine motor skills, which is one of the things that I promote the most, is anything that works those little little fingers. Anything that would be like little stamps or rollers for the Play-Doh, toddler scissors, anything that's beads like that they could lace in. Basically, those little clamps, the little tongs, those will be all fine motor skills and toys that will develop that pincer grab. So what it's important because that's going to help them button their shirts, tie their shoes, hold a pencil, hold it steady so that they can craft. That's why I absolutely love fine motor, and it's one of my passions. And surprisingly, I didn't have that many toys, because one thing I want to tell you is that you don't have to have a bunch of toys for each. You can create your own toys. And I'll talk to you a little bit about how to create those toys later on. The other area would be the music toys. So these are toys that encourage the sense of hearing. So you can have like little pianos, little those egg shakers. You can have instruments, drums, rain sticks, tambourines. So for me, that's an area that I noticed I didn't have that many, and maybe I could create some stuff to add into that section so that I could rotate more often and develop that sense of music. And then we have the gross motor toys. We do have, this is called a wobble board, and it has been one of my best investments that I have done. Even my oldest uses that. There's so many play possibilities. They flip it and they use it as a bridge. They flip it around. They put it as a tunnel for the cars. They make yoga poses. So that one is a good one to buy. Then you have anything that's like scooters and bikes, anything that are little stepping stones, pickle triangles, I think this one's called, that you can do. So anything that promotes those big body movements. Those are the gross motor skills. Most likely these won't fit in a box, so just understand where they're located and understand that they could be rotated. You don't have to have all of your balance bike. I think at this time I have a balance bike, a scooter, a regular bike, and a tricycle. So they don't always have to be out at the same time. You can do them in rotation so that it creates excitement and creativity. Let's get on the next video and let's talk about setting up your system.